Hillary Clinton today hit the airwaves with MSNBC's Chuck Todd and CNN, saying that the rules about email were not clarified until after she left the State Department, the rules that she was operating under. And also she said that everything she said already, everything she could possibly say on the matter. So joining us now, in the wake of this big Democratic story, is High Definition, the campaign manager for Bernie Sanders. That would be Jeff Weaver, who's coming to us, as I said a second ago, in High Definition. Jeff, thank you for joining us in High Definition from Burlington, Vermont.
Great to be here.
The obvious question and the inescapable question at hand, please give us everything you know, all the details, secret, otherwise, about the current state of the Trump-Sanders debate negotiations.
And you'd like me to name names as well?
Yes, certainly.
Yeah,
everything. Everything you know.
Say, what I would say about this is this would be a phenomenal opportunity for the American people to see two different visions on stage together, one-on-one, and let the American people to decide which vision they support. Donald Trump's tax cuts for the rich, low wages, climate change is a hoax made up by the Chinese,
right, or
Bernie Sanders dealing with wealth and income inequality, health care for all, and tuition-free public colleges and universities.
So
let's see which one of those prevails.
Jeff, are there negotiations underway, and if so, what are the state of them?
Well, there has been some behind-the-scenes talks about the possibility of this happening. I think there's probably a division on the other side about whether it should go forward. Clearly, Donald Trump last night said that he would like to debate Bernie Sanders, repeated it today. We hope that he does not chicken out, that he has the courage to get up on stage and stand by his positions.
Jeff, when you say there have been behind-the-scenes talk, do you mean there have been direct contacts between people on the Sanders campaign and on the Trump campaign?
I would say that's a yes.
Okay.
Jeff, it seems like you agree with us. It's in your interest to get this thing to happen. But you're a busy man. How much time are you going to invest in trying to pull this off? And when will you know if it's real?
Well, I would hope we would know very soon. Obviously, the California primary is coming up. It would be best for the people of California to have this debate beforehand. And like I said, I think this would be a real clash of ideas and substance, and I think a real opportunity for people in California and the rest of the country.
Your candidate famously said early on in the contest that he didn't care much about Hillary Clinton's darn emails.
I think it was damn emails.
Yeah, it was. I was trying to quote Paul Ryan. He likes the word darn. If in the wake of the IG report, is there anything you think voters should look at that report and say, as they compare Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, here's what they should think anew about Hillary Clinton based on the report?
Well, I think the report speaks for itself, and Bernie Sanders has been very clear that he wants to have a campaign on the substance of issues. This process is still going on. There's an FBI investigation, obviously, and I think what he has said and what he's standing by is that we should let that process play itself out, and then
right. But the report doesn't totally speak for itself. Is there something in it you would point voters, Democratic voters in California, New Jersey, and elsewhere, and say, we think this is what you should take away from it, or you simply want to let voters read it themselves and make their own conclusions?
Yes, let voters read it for themselves. There's enough differences between Senator Sanders and Secretary Clinton on substance that they can make a decision between the two. That you have differences on minimum wage, on health care, on foreign policy. So I think there's plenty out there on which people can make a decision. And if people want to read this report, they certainly welcome to.
Jeff.
But the process is not yet complete with respect to emails.
Jeff, you're a voter and a citizen, right? So, you know, there's two different ways of looking at this report, broadly speaking. Some people think it's damning and scathing, and that it comes down very hard on Secretary Clinton, raises questions about her judgment at a minimum. Other people, especially people in the Clinton campaign, say, hey, look, there's nothing to see here. This is of no consequence whatsoever. There's no news here, and it basically exonerates her. As a voter, as a citizen of the United States of America, I know you've read the report, so what's your judgment about which of those is more broadly true?
Well, my opinion of it really doesn't matter. What matters is what people who read it themselves think. I know. Well, I appreciate that, too. But I think if people want to read it, they can go ahead, make their own conclusions. But this whole investigation of the emails is not over with yet. And I think, as the senator said, we want to let the process play itself out, and then people can make a decision.
But Jeff,
from there.
it's clear that your posture is no longer the posture of Senator Sanders, which was originally, no one cares about your damn emails. You're now saying, look, voters should read this report and come to their own conclusions. That it's at least important enough that you're pushing them in that direction, as opposed to saying, this is irrelevant, let's get on to other issues.
I think you're overreading what I just said. What Bernie Sanders is concerned about is the substantive differences between himself and Secretary Clinton. If there's an issue of judgment that he's concerned about, it's her judgment in voting for the Iraq War and carrying on with a very hawkish foreign policy since then, having not learned the lessons of that war.
Jeff, go back to the possible Trump-Sanders debate, or as you like to call it, the Sanders-Trump debate. Are you the main point of contact with the Trump campaign?
Well, I don't really want to name names. I know you'd like me to name names, but I haven't up to this point, and I think the discussions are at a point where it'd be more helpful if names weren't sort of discussed.
Tell people about the historical relationship between your colleague Tad Devine and the chairman of the Trump campaign, Paul Manafort.
Well, I know they've worked together on at least one international project, so they do have a relationship.
And is that helping make this more likely to happen?
Well, that's just another way of you asking me to name names.
Well, no, I'm just asking if the fact that there's a relationship that exists at the high levels of the two campaigns, you think makes it more likely that negotiations could be concluded successfully.
Well, I think it makes it more likely that negotiations will happen.
Jeff,
I obviously, at this point, I really can't speak to whether they'll be successful or not. I mean, I do think ultimately the question is does Donald Trump, have the sort of courage to get up there on stage with Bernie Sanders one-on-one? I mean, that's really the ultimate question.
You think calling him a chicken is making it more likely to happen?
I don't know, but the ultimate question here is about fortitude, really. And chickening out, I think, is not a good option.
Jeff, let me ask you about the upcoming Democratic National Convention. There's a story in the New York Times about the possibility of a platform fight over the Democratic position with respect to Israel and the Palestinians. You guys have put Cornel West and James Zogby on the platform committee as your representatives. A lot of people consider that a kind of provocative thing to do. And when I say a lot of people, I mean certainly people in the Clinton camp and some number of Democrats who think those two guys are likely to stir up some degree of debate and contentiousness and trouble. Would you guys have any concerns about that as sending a signal that you guys are not coming to make peace, but are coming to make a fight?
No, I don't think so. I think there's going to be a number of discussions about the platform. There may be disagreements. There'll obviously be votes on the platform committee. If there are platform points that the senator loses on the platform committee that he thinks might be better brought to the floor, that's always a possibility.
But you don't see those two appointments as being, again, if someone said to you, those two individuals seem like provocative appointments, you would say what?
No, I would say absolutely not. I think that there's a broad range of views in the Democratic Party. I think both of those gentlemen are highly qualified to be on that platform drafting committee. There are going to be a number of hearings around the country, and I think that the more views that are expressed and put into the platform, in the platform discussion, I think is the better for the party.
18 months ago, did Bernie Sanders know who Jimmy Kimmel was?
Yes, he did. Yes.
He did. Okay. Just checking.
Yes, he did. Yes.
Tonight's a big night.
I would say yes.
Okay.
It is a big night, absolutely.